A 5-floor coronavirus quarantine hotel in South China collapsed this morning. Dozens of people trapped inside. China state media say the whole thing happened in just 2 seconds. Our local hospitals in China's Shandong covering up the cause of death of pneumonia patients. A local funeral home staff told us he's concerned. Leaked government documents show the local Chinese government still pushes companies to go back to work, even though there is a serious shortage of face masks and increased risk of infection. Pope Francis has canceled his public appearances amid the coronavirus outbreak in Italy. He announced the new format for his appearances.
Welcome to China in Focus. I'm your host, Tiffany Meyer. A 5-story coronavirus quarantine center in China suddenly collapsed today. It had been converted from a hotel after the outbreak. Right now, we only have data from Chinese state media, which cannot be verified. It says around 70 people were inside when it fell. Within 3.5 hours, 38 had been rescued. Beijing News reported that it only took 2 seconds for the entire building to collapse. A witness said the collapse started at the lower levels before the upper levels fell. Social media videos show other witnesses at the scene.
1到5层酒店倒了，整个酒店都倒了，里面还有很多人被压住啊。
南环路的一个酒店塌了，里面隔离了50-60个人呢，恐怖。
哇，激动了，超激动的，他们有40多人，哇，太可怕了，哇，整个楼都没了，哇。
People inside the hotel weren't even confirmed to have the virus. They were just in the building for observation because they had contact with confirmed cases. The hotel is in the Fujian province. It opened less than 2 years ago and reportedly had around 80 guest rooms. The authorities didn't give any reason for the collapse. Died of pneumonia or the coronavirus, according to an internal local government document exclusively obtained by the Epoch Times. 2 hospitals in China's Shandong province aren't making the cause of death clear, instead putting vague explanations on some of their death certificates, and a local funeral home official is very concerned. The document shows that the funeral home official in Jining, Shandong, reported twice to the local government, saying that the city's first and second people's hospitals don't specify the cause of death for their pneumonia patients. The death certificates only say unspecified bacterial pneumonia, meaning hospitals aren't listing whether these patients died of the coronavirus and if their bodies are infectious, the internal document says. The city's health commission reportedly replied to the funeral home official, saying as of February 4th, the city had no death from the coronavirus. The funeral home official said he told the local government about this due to safety concerns. In the report, he said that funeral staff responsible for cremation don't have protective gear, and they risk getting infected when handling the bodies. We contacted the funeral home official directly, and he said his workplace had stopped accepting bodies from these 2 hospitals starting late February. He told us hospitals need to be able to indicate clearly when their patients have died of the coronavirus, but they didn't. And he's seen 4 or 5 similar cases. He said funeral home staff have a lot of fear when dealing with bodies when the cause of death is not clear. So right now they don't accept bodies like that from these 2 hospitals. They are located in Shandong, China's second most populous province, with a population of almost a third that of the United States. And another internal local government document obtained earlier by the Epoch Times shows that Shandong's Center for Disease Control and Prevention had consistently underreported coronavirus infections in February to varying degrees. The document showed that by February 18th, 52 patients were confirmed to have the coronavirus in Shandong. This only included 1 new infection. And on February 21st, 59 people tested positive, though Shandong only reported 2 of them. China's exports fell significantly in the first 2 months of 2020. Data from China's General Administration of Customs show that in January and February, China's exports were 17.2% lower than last year. Compare this with December 2019, before the coronavirus lockdowns. China's exports increased by 7.6%. China is now importing much more than they are exporting. In January and February, China had a trade deficit of $7 billion. Compare this with 2019, when they had a trade surplus of $41 billion. This is the first time China's seen a trade deficit since April 2018. The Communist Party of Wuhan has told people to be grateful toward the General Secretary of the Chinese Communist Party, Xi Jinping, towards the party, and that citizens should listen to the party, follow the party to develop strong, positive energy.
要在全市广大市民中深入开展感恩教育，感恩总书记，感恩共产党，听党话，跟党走，形成强大正能量。
Many netizens are outraged. One asked why Wuhan people should be thankful. He said he's speechless with rage. The newspaper in China that reported the order later deleted the report and video. Internal documents from China reveal a shortage of face masks and a high risk of infection. Local Chinese authorities are still pushing companies to go back to work amid the coronavirus outbreak. NTD's Juliet Song has the details.
Leaked documents show a city district in China pushing companies to get back to work despite a shortage of face masks and high risk of cross-infection. The document is a work report on the number of local companies resuming operations and the difficulty of meeting their needs for protective gear. It is drafted by the local Communist Party's Committee of Quancheng, a district with a population of over 680,000 in the city of Changchun in northeast China. All local industries, except those in restaurants and construction sites, are required to reopen by the end of February, the document says. By February 25th, over 60% of medium to large-scale companies in Quancheng had resumed operations. Companies of this scale employ hundreds to tens of thousands of people and have annual revenues of at least $280,000. The document says that as more industries go back to work, demands for protective gear are surging, and the local government is struggling to meet companies' daily needs. It says local governments supplied 3,500 face masks for local enterprises that would prove to even barely fill a large company's needs for a day. It's also difficult to secure face masks independently. And the gap between supply and demand is huge. An internal document from Changchun's Healthcare Security Bureau shows on February 17th, city officials released 10,000 masks, but there was demand for over 1 million on the same day. Chinese authorities insist there have been no new infections in Changchun since February 17th. Without enough face masks, there's greater risk of infection. Despite the challenge of securing face mask supplies, the document says the city aims to get all companies to get back to work, a risky move at this time. Earlier this month, a worker in Anhui province was found to be infected with the coronavirus after going back to work. The company was then shut down and over 170 close contacts were put in quarantine. Chinese media reported similar cases in other provinces. Reporting by Juliet Song, NTD News, New York.
Updates on the Grand Princess cruise ship docked off the coast of California. There are more than 3,500 people on board. 46 have been tested, 21 confirmed infected. Vice President Mike Pence said those infected include 19 crew members and 2 passengers. Everyone on board has been confined to their rooms. Saturday morning, a critically ill guest was evacuated from the Grand Princess cruise ship. The previous night, the captain could be heard over the loudspeaker requesting medical assistance. The California Air National Guard helicopter dropped off test kits to the ship on Thursday. This after officials learned a passenger on an earlier cruise later died after contracting the coronavirus. The ship has been in limbo since Wednesday. It was due back in San Francisco after a 15-day trip to and from Hawaii. California Governor Gavin Newsom said the ship would be kept offshore until passengers and crew who have fallen ill can be tested for possible coronavirus infection. Pence said authorities plan to dock the ship at a non-commercial port over the weekend so that all passengers and crew can be tested for the virus. Passengers may still be quarantined at a military base. The governor on Wednesday declared a statewide emergency in response to the coronavirus outbreak. And New York's governor declared a state of emergency on Saturday after confirmed cases of infection rose to 76. 15 American tourists have been quarantined in a hotel in the West Bank city of Bethlehem over a coronavirus scare, according to a Palestinian government spokesman.
Security forces wearing face masks were seen securing the perimeter of the Angel Hotel on Saturday, with an ambulance parked up nearby. There was no immediate comment from US officials in the region. The Palestinian Authority has declared a state of emergency in the Palestinian territories after more than a dozen cases of the virus were confirmed in Bethlehem. On Thursday, President Mahmoud Abbas ordered the closure of schools and offices, as well as the cancellation of foreign tourist reservations.
U.S. airlines are also upping up their guard against the spread of the coronavirus. They're trying to cut down on person-to-person contamination on airplanes, as well as wine and water refills, in order to prevent passengers from touching serving trays and food baskets. Instead of bringing wine or water bottles into the aisles for refills, United Airlines flight attendants will now provide a brand new cup or glass. Airlines worldwide are facing a steep drop in travel demand. To help combat it, some are offering passengers free cancellation or rebooking and working to calm fears about cabin cleanliness and air circulation. Planes are also receiving thorough scrub downs. Even surfaces like ceilings and overhead bins are being washed. Some airlines say they've brought in disease experts to teach crew members, while United says its flight attendants may now wear gloves as an extra sanitation measure. An American sailor stationed in Naples, Italy, has tested positive for the coronavirus and is now in quarantine. This is the first positive case of a U.S. service member in Europe. Officials say anyone who had close contact with the infected person is now in self-isolation. The military is now checking if anyone else may have been exposed. As the coronavirus outbreak persists in Italy, Pope Francis is canceling his regular public appearances. His reasoning: to help prevent crowds from gathering to see him. Instead, he'll stream them online from inside the Vatican.
Pope Francis has cancelled his regular public appearances to avoid crowds gathering to see him during the coronavirus outbreak. The Vatican said that on Sunday, the 83-year-old pontiff will not address crowds from a window overlooking St. Peter's Square, and for the time being will opt for video streaming instead. Italy is the worst-hit European country, with a death toll of nearly 200. On Saturday, France, Germany and the Netherlands all reported a rise in the number of cases, while Malta, Slovakia and Serbia confirmed their first infections. While the outbreak began in mainland China, the epidemic is now spreading faster elsewhere.
Also in Italy, the leader of the country's co-ruling Democratic Party revealed today that he has tested positive for the coronavirus. It's the first case of a senior Italian politician to contract the infection. Nicola Zingaretti announced the news on Facebook, adding that he felt well and was in self-isolation at home. Zingaretti is also the governor of the central region of Lazio, where the capital Rome is located. His case could cause some concern among the government ranks, given the frequent contact he has with ministers, regional administrators, and fellow party members. Italy is the hardest hit country in Europe, with a total of 4,636 virus cases and 197 deaths as of Friday. This week, the government ordered the closure of schools, universities, cinemas, and theaters to stem infections. Here at China in Focus, we bring you first-hand information from inside China. Don't forget to subscribe for the latest updates.